Yeah, hello everybody. Here's Elizabeth Horlemann, and today I wanted to give an overview of the discussions that we had yesterday on Zoom. The idea is that in future we are not going to be recording those discussions and posting it in the group because it has shown that a lot of people find the place a very nice and comfortable atmosphere where they are actually sharing some of their very personal experiences, and uploading that, putting it on the internet is kind of like giving up, giving up that rights up to other people who you don't know what they're going to do with the recorded information, maybe populate it in the internet, and as a result, it may not necessarily be something good for those people who have, who are just using these sessions as a place of finding some way of, of talking and solving their problems. So, to talk about stress management, I thought about go right in it on a professional level, because stress management is one of the things that I offer when people come to me for coaching. Now, when you look at stress, you have to find out what is the meaning of stress. Being under pressure is a normal part of life. I'm one of those type of people that I need stress in order to be more productive. So you have to look at what type of stresses are we looking for. And you remember that long time ago, human beings needed stress to fight or flight. When there was danger, they would need that to defend themselves, or to escape that. They would use it for fleeing. So it's always called fight or flight. No, so what you need to know is the situations or events that put you under pressure, and the reactions of that is being placed when you are those reactions that you are being placed in when you are under pressure. And of course, stress is not a psychological diagnosis, but it can cause mental health issues in two ways. It can cause mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, or mental health problems which you may already have that can cause you stress. For example, with coping with your medications, how you're taking your medications, or coping with the day-to-day symptoms of those medical problems. So stress is something that we need to classify. One, it is a manageable stress, or one, the stress is managing you, right? So this, how do you know that we are experiencing or are undergoing stress? The first one is you could maybe find that you are not really interested in life. You're just seeing things passing, like as if you are seeing a film, or in slow motion. You're just seeing your life passing, and you're not being part of it. You lack sense of humor, and you feel everything, you dread everything. We were talking about it yesterday where somebody said, yeah, they look at their mails are coming, they're not attending to their mails. They see it is manong that has come, they know they have to respond, but they still keep it on the side and say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. So you're dreading on doing things, and you're worried about your health. And that one, that is not normal. We all worry about our health, but when you think about the extreme part where you are worrying, over sensitively worrying about your health, that can cause you stress. And neglected or lonely, people who are lonely, or people who feel neglected in the sense that maybe you're not having, particularly we were talking about it yesterday, a proper relationship with your children, and you feel that this connection or this bonding that you had is suddenly disconnected, so you feel neglected. Or you're somebody who is lonely, you don't have a relationship, you don't have a partner, the children are no longer in the house, so you're suffering lonely. These situations can cause stress. And your thoughts keep on racing, and you find you cannot switch off. I was talking about it yesterday, and I was telling people that you find that your brain, you've gone to bed, but your brain is just actively rattling, there is it's not stopping, and it's continuously working and not even taking a break. Such a situation can cause you help, stress, and you're not able to even enjoy yourself. Depression is another topic. We I think looked at it sometime. Depression, which can be either burnout, or you're now getting into depression, where you find you're not really functioning in terms of your mind not being able to accept or reset or react to the situations around you. People, you also find that people become, because of stress, they become very aggressive because they don't have those factors of managing the stress. So some people react particularly aggressive, impatient, or they will just wind up, and stress overburdens. You just find that everything that you're doing makes you feel that not yet another load on top of already what I have. So stress can be able to, can be overbearing, it can overburden you. It gives you, of course, anxieties. You become nervous and afraid. And the most important thing is, what we need to realize is stress can also drive people to think that there is no other way out, and they start to develop suicidal feelings. When this now happens, you need to really look for professional help urgently, because the development of suicidal feelings is not an event, it's a process. It starts very, very slowly, and with time, you can start getting comfortable with the idea of, if maybe I could just commit suicide, all this might be over. So once you start from a small point where you're feeling suicidal, don't let it develop into huge blocks. Let it develop into a small grain of sand, salt, or something like that. Get help, so that it do not start to play and play around with it all the time, with the idea that, okay, this thing can be over when I commit suicide. So then it's very important that you take note on that. So what are those behaviors that you are going to be experiencing? For example, when I gave the example with not being able to attend to urgent letters, that are demanding that you make decisions that have given you, like, maybe 14 days, like here in Germany, you're always given 14 days, mano, you're not paying bills. Maybe you're stressed because of your financial situation, and you just don't know how to cope. So you're finding yourself not being able to make a decision on what to do with these bills. Yeah. And constantly worrying and avoiding situations that are troubling you, putting your head in the sand. No? So that is also another way of now why is it going backwards? Of avoiding of your, those are some of the stress behaviors that you're going to find yourself in: snapping at people and biting your nails. If you're a person who is always, let me just go back, if you're a person that is always biting your nails, you're going to find that that is already a physical indicator for you. And grinding your teeth, I spoke yesterday about when you find you're grinding your teeth, then I would always say that you are, quote unquote, a lucky person, because you have that physical uh, symptoms that you're seeing. You're biting, because other symptoms are so abstract, you're not able to see them. But here, of course, you're finding yourself biting your fingernails, grinding your teeth. That is something which is important. You're unable to concentrate, or you're eating too much, too little, smoking or drinking more than unusual. We had this topic, I think, some time back, when we were talking about, I think it was about loneliness, where you're finding yourself using other stress fact senses, like the bottle, taking on drugs, drinking, or even smoking, whatever uh, the whatever they add out there, which people smoke. You are restless. You can't sit still. You find yourself always hyper, even when you're going somewhere where everybody is supposed to be, under normal circumstances, calm. You just find yourself being hyper all the time. That one, that there is a problem. Crying all the time. There is that crying. We were talking yesterday again about crying to give you relief, crying to just let that out. That is fine. But when you find that you are crying over, when it is too much, everything must always be an average and middle way. But when you find that you're overdoing it, those are again signs that you are in a stress situation. And physically, what you find also is that you have a shallow, you're breathing low, very low, or you're hyperventilating. There's something that has happened, and you find that you're hyperventilating till you cannot be able to breathe properly. you might be suffering from panic attacks. Your muscles are so tensed that you cannot be able to turn your neck, especially when you notice when you're really tense, you'll notice that with your shoulders at the neck, your neck, that you're not able to turn to the left, to the right. This particularly people who drive, when you have to give the left shoulder, the right shoulder to look out to take care whether there is somebody crossing the road. If you notice that you're not being able to do the complete, is it called 90 degrees, or on that other side, left and right, then you know that you've got muscle tensions. Blur sight, or your eyes are always sore, and you have problems getting sleep, staying asleep, or you're having nightmares, constant nightmares that you are, like us Africans, we always want to say, me, I had this nightmare. What does that mean? What, want to have explanations, but in most cases, these nightmares are actually related to stress. Yeah. Finally, of course, the stress also going to affect, if you've got a partner, it's going to affect your sexual relationship, and you find yourself losing interest on sex, or also being unable to enjoy sex, which for us women, we are the best artists in faking orgasms and faking that we are enjoying sex, but in actual fact you are not enjoying sex. Again, this is going to be something that is being be dramatic, especially for you and your partner. So you're tired all the time, you're grinding your teeth. I already spoke about that. You've got heartaches, headaches, chest pains, yeah, high blood pressure, another way of causing stress. And if you notice, a lot of us Africans, we are really prone to high blood pressure. If you see the statistics now of COVID, you're going to see that a lot of the Africans who are dying, they have what are called these opportunist illnesses, like high blood pressure, indigestion, obesities. These are things that we actually neglect to take care of ourselves, and as a result develop such things: indigestions, heartburns, constipation, and diarrhea, and of course feeling sick and dizzy or fainting often. Those are all symptoms of stress. But what can cause stress? Stress is when you are under a lot of pressure, you're not able to face big changes in your life, or you worry about something and you have too much or any control over the outcome of a situation. COVID is a very nice example. If you find that you are looking at updates of COVID, I know that stressed me totally. You are looking at updates of COVID, and you're listening to what was said at 10 o'clock, and you're going to be trying to compare it with 12 o'clock, and you realize at 10 o'clock maybe there were only 5,000 infection, people infected, and now at 12 o'clock we have doubled it. So all this is, you're having too much stress, and depending on where you are and how the situation is back home, this is going to stress you. So you also have to find a middle way of dosing how much intake of new information that you are having, and or what they call news feeds. So this can also cause you a lot of stress. Having responsibilities, this one, I can never finish to sing this song. The amount of pressure that we have from back home, send money all the time. You find yourself being overwhelmed because you have your responsibilities here. Most likely you're not able to work as much to be sending that much money that those people at home want. And some of our people at home are very ungrateful people. They do not try to see or understand, the pressures that you're going on here. So there again, responsibilities that you may be finding overwhelming, both here in the diaspora and back home. And not having enough work is, or can also be stressful because of the pressure again back home. You may be looking for a job, but there are no jobs because maybe you're still studying, and you're not getting that amount of money be sending home. So there again, you need to be careful on watching out for those things that stress you. And of course, we've already spoke about the uncertainty of life right now with COVID. A lot of people are just wondering what is going to happen tomorrow. Are we ever going to get back to our normal life? And how is that normal life going to look like? So we've spoken about all that, but how do we manage stress? Stress is, first of all, you have to know what is causing those stress. those stress, what is putting you in this position. So you have to identify what are those triggers, and the ones that I've given you the whole list of all those triggers. And then you need to organize your time. Stress can also be the fact that you have just too much on your plate, you're taking more on your plate, and you are not just able to manage that even time wise. So you need to also address how much time am I dedicating to that, and how much time am I dedicating to myself, the mindfulness. So address the causes. If it is stress that is really, putting you under pressure, like I said yesterday, you're not a tree. You need to move from where you are to go to somewhere else where you can be able to manage the stress. So if it is a stress that is making you not be able to send money back home, talk to those people, explain to them their situation, and whether they understand or they don't understand, that is now not your problem. You've already done your part. You've already told them. You can always send them money. And I always say the funniest thing is that if God said they would not die, they will not die. If God said they are going to die, even if you send so much amount of money, they will die. So you need to really address the causes of your stress. Then, of course, I have my 4 A's that I always tell my clients: avoid, alter, yeah, adapt to the new situation. If you've already decided, I want to concentrate on my house building, I want to concentrate on my studies, I want to concentrate on bringing change in my life, I'm going to concentrate first on finishing off this relationship, establishing myself first before I can be able to be in a position to help people back home, then adapt to that, because when everything else is okay, sending that money home, working, getting new jobs, getting a new relationship is the easiest thing that's going to happen for you. And accepting that you are not able to do this, or accepting that this is not going to happen, is very important. Yesterday I said we are not in competition with anybody. You're not competing with anybody. The people that you've met here, it's a crossroad. You met them here, and if they are friends with you and they understand that the importance of maybe you not being able to complete your house building right now, but you pick it up later, should not be using it as a bullet to go and make fun of you, or to ridicule you, but to accept that you have made a very big decision, a very big step of just stopping and looking at your health system for now. So the possible treatments is talking with professionals. Most of the time, stress is a treatment that you can have done by just talking to professionals or talking to people. In our cultures before, we used to talk because talking was making space for you to think or to be able to deal with the problem. So you talk to somebody who is, who is a professional, somebody that can be able to be more aware about what is happening around you, so that you and your thoughts are, you're explaining what are your thoughts and what are your fears, or what is happening around you. So you can also look for somebody that does cognitive behavioral therapy. It is also called CBT. That is the coachings that I do. And the cognitive behavioral therapist or cognitive behavioral coach, which I do, will help you understand the thought patterns that trigger you or brings you to this situation where you are in, and also to identify for you the positive actions that you can take, right? And there are so many techniques that we use as coaches, cognitive coaches, that helps you, not only take those actions, but to also maintain them, to sustain them, so that in future you do not have a relapse, of those problems that you had previously, that you start having them again. So I offer what I call the mind expert coaching. I am the person who will try to help you understand what are those thoughts all about, and we start to challenge in the coaching. We challenge those thoughts and replace them with healthy and more effective action plans. Let me just call them that now, for lack of a better word, that you can take, right? So another thing that is also very important that we spoke about yesterday is the mindfulness. I'd written in the post, is your mind full, or is your mind, or or how do you have mindfulness? Now, mindfulness is MBRS, which actually means that mindfulness based stress reductions. These are a combination of like meditation, yoga, which particularly focuses on a particular problem that you're having, which is also another way of reducing stress. Yesterday I talked about the Jacob's muscle relaxation, which one can do by themselves, which you can do even when you're walking, or you can go in for yoga. This is also good for the body and the mind and the spirit, which is the one of the best combinations that you can have, because one of the factors, again, which I forgot to mention, that causes stress is also the spirit, not understanding what is it that you want, feeling whole in you and feeling incomplete. So you feel like you need to have some sort of a spiritual, you know, something accompany that aspect. So yoga is also a very good way of getting mind, soul, body, mind, and soul in one. So yesterday I also talked about, or we also talked about the natural treatments that you can use, and I told you that you can also use the hibiscus. The hibiscus is a very good plant. You can use the flowers. First of all, when you put it on the bathtub with soap water, it gives very beautiful colors, and it has a very nice smell, and it has the oils is very good for relaxation. So you can also, there's a lot. I wanted to check in Google, but there is so many things that you can use, natural products that you can use, that you can integrate in your life, that can help you relax. For example, enjoying a hot ginger tea, boiling it with lemon, and some of you may need a bit of sweetness in it. I'd encourage to put instead honey. You can take that in the morning, and as you're sitting listening to very quiet music, or doing one of your the activities that you enjoy doing, you can be able to, you can make yourself a cup of tea. There are things like, you go into the internet, you're going to find there are so different types of plants that you can be using. For example, lavender is good for moods. So these are things that you can also buy from Bauhaus, or you can grow them even on your balcony, so that you can always have them fresh around you, and you can also be using them. Or you buy the candles, or there is oil that you can also use, that you can just rub a bit on the left hand side of your temples, and it's a way of also giving you relaxation. So you take long baths with natural moods. One of the admins, Rachel, said what she does is that she goes into the bathroom, prepares it, but lets it be dark. That is important, because too much light sometimes also gives you a bit of stress, and you want that when you are relaxing, that the whole body is just taking a break. And sometimes light, or most of the times light, also plays a major role. So you can go into the bathroom and make it dark. Not that one of you always want to be in dark because of depression, but you want to take a long, you know ausgiebig bath, and using like orange peels in the bathtub, which at the end of the day is going to be very good for your skin. The oils that are going to come out because of the heat from the water, and of course, then it also smells nice. It is a relaxing way. So I offer cognitive life coaching. And before I close today, I wanted to tell you a story about the feather and thought. Now, this story, I learned it a long time from a teacher who taught us in college, and she kept on saying, those days I never really know what significance it was, but she kept on telling us, have I ever told you what thought did? You see, thought planted a feather into the ground and thought it would grow into a hen. I used to laugh myself dead, but later on I've come to realize that thought is one of those things that we believe in too much. Yet thought are those one of those people that bring in obstacles all the time. You want to do something, thought comes in and discourages you. You want to do that, thought comes in and is again standing on your way. So when she told us you take thought, plant it into the earth, and expect to grow into a hen. It doesn't. It will never. And that is what it is. Thought is sometimes a big liar. So you need to really watch out. What are those thoughts that you have that always keeps on pushing you back? Well, that said, I use my coaching, which I studied CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which I blend in with the coaching, which I also studied both of that. So if anybody is interested in looking at changing or challenging those thoughts that they have, the thought and the feather that they have, just inbox me for some coaching sessions. I offer also a free 1 hour coaching session so that you can be able to see what work we're going to be doing together. So all that said, I hope that this has been of some value for you. It was a long one, but remember that if you have any issues that you notice that you're going on from one end to the other, for example, from stress to mental, from stress to burnout, you have to get professional help, which is so important. I'm going to also leave at the bottom of this video the links to some of those professional institutions or finds that you can use in your area to be able to look for culturally appropriate let's say mental health uh, services. So wish you all a lovely day, and till then.